strategic planning. The design and construction of a new water tower, public safety facility, and city hall will ensure vital services for our community are supported and there when we need them. They're an investment in our future. Clinton is a great city, and when we all work together, we can move Clinton forward together.
Paid for by Michelossi for Mayor.
This is a station editorial. I'm Randall J. Miller, station president. I want to take this time to brag a bit on our great staff in both Taylorville and Clinton that provide local radio each and every day. The most recent example of that were our high school road tour in January and our first responders road tour in February in both markets. Our sales staff secured sponsorships to enable our programming staff to hit the road across our 12 counties and do live broadcasts from a host of high schools in January, along with police and fire stations in February. In January, our two news and information stations, WTIM Taylorville and WHOW Clinton, did a combined 11 live broadcasts from area high schools during each station's respective morning shows. Our programming staff interviewed the host high school principal, athletic director, student council president, and one extracurricular student representative to find out all the great things happening at our local high schools. In February, WTIM and WHOW did a combined 11 live broadcasts during our respective morning shows from police and fire stations, visiting with those who put their lives on the line to protect us and keep us safe. Our entire staff at both clusters of radio stations were involved in the sales, programming, and scheduling of these live broadcasts. Kudos to all of them for doing a record 22 live broadcasts at our morning shows from locations other than our respective studios in just 2 months. This is what local radio is all about, telling the story of each community. Our radio group remains committed to telling the story of our great communities in the 12 counties our 2 radio station clusters serve. That's the legacy of local radio in our markets. Our 2 heritage news and information stations, WTIM and WHOW, have a combined 151 years of service to Central Illinois. We're continuing our pledge to you to serve. Thanks for listening. That's our opinion. We welcome yours. Our email address is editorial@randyradio.com. Editorial@randyradio.com.
News time, 8 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Monday morning. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded 7 o'clock newscast brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters. Here's what we have coming up for you in news on this Monday. Central Illinois could be in for a sloppy start to spring. Ed Shimon at the National Weather Service in Lincoln has a look at what's to come here in March and beyond for the spring months in Central Illinois. We've got some tree care tips from the U of I Extension as they get set to host a seminar about tree care. Of course, trees will be blooming here very soon in Central Illinois. And Social Security is highlighting all the things you can do with a mySocialSecurity account. Those stories come up in news on this Monday. But first, we stream to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. A wet spring seems to be on its way for Central Illinois. Ed Shimon at the National Weather Service in Lincoln tells Regional Radio the March outlook starts out rather pleasant as the overall trend is above average precipitation and equal chances for above or below normal temperatures.
Well, when the Climate Prediction Center did issue a March outlook, and they actually kept the above normal temperatures just south of Illinois. So we're kind of in the equal chances, which is encompassing California through Wisconsin, Illinois, all the way to Maine. So there's a large area of equal chances. So there might be a somewhat of a cool down then towards the end of March to basically balance that out, because they saw, they know what their 6 to 10 through 3 to 4 week outlooks are. And then the monthly came out and it showed this, and I was like, and it shows above normal precip for March, pretty solidly. It's in the 50 to 60th percentile there. So wet March and equal chances. So we're not seeing snow is probably not going to be a prominent thing. And if it does snow, it's going to melt in a pretty short basis. That's good news. Cold snaps, the below normal temps are all the way up by Washington State, Portland, Oregon, and they can have it there. But we're equal chances. That means, ebb and flow, typical spring March probably.
According to Shimon, March is a month of transitions. We gradually see the sun out longer and longer throughout March, which means we start to see temperatures gradually increase.
Yeah, March is one of our biggest gains of sunlight. It's when we have the solstice, spring solstice, which is when the sun is in its maximum transit speed in terms of elevation change in the sky. So we're going to gain 45 is our normal high on the 1st, 58 is the normal high. So almost near 60 by the end of March is a normal high. Lows are 27 at the beginning of the month, and they climb above freezing to 35 by the end of the month. So, it's a pretty decent month of a lot of warmth is probably going to be expected. If we're going to be above normal, that means we'll be well into the 60s on some of those days if our normal highs are in the low 50s. Could be some pretty nice spring days in there. Hopefully not too many cold ones. If we do actually see some above normal temps the whole month, some things might start to grow. So we got to be careful we don't get an April freeze and start to zap some of those tree buds. So we'll have to see how it plays out. But some plants will start to think it's spring and start growing, and then an April gotcha comes in there and starts ruining some of the fruit tree buds and stuff like that.
March has seen some snow in central Illinois in years past. However, Shimon doubts we'll see much of it, if any, this far south. He indicates April snow is even less likely this year.
March, we normally have about 2.7 inches of rainfall, which could include snow. Snow on an average for March is 1.8 inches of snow. So not bad. In that time of the year, we usually have lost our frost depth for the most part. So the ground's going to warm. From the ground up, it's going to melt. And then from the top down, the sun angle especially is what helps eat away snow. And as each day in March, that sun angle is going higher and higher at the noon hour, giving us more and more energy. Snow doesn't tend to stick around more than a couple, 3 days at most, unless we get a really big snow in March, which we have had in the past. But I'm knocking on wood that, looking at the patterns setting up in the outlooks, maybe not going to see a real heavy snowfall this far south into Illinois. So.
The 3-month outlook shows warm air just to the south of the listening area, which leads Shimon to believe things could be rather mild. He points out we're likely to see some pretty wet days this spring.
Yeah, when we add in the 3-month outlook, April, May, June, it shows warm air is just south of us in terms of above normal temperatures. We are officially in equal chances. And then above normal precip continues in the 3-month outlook, April, May, June. So not significant. It's just in that 33 to 40th percentile. So just a little above normal trend there on the precip. So not like we're going to be probably ruining any kind of planting plans for the farmers. If March is that high above normal, we're going to start out pretty soggy as we head into, in the surface moisture, right? We're still actually in D0 drought. They actually added DeWitt County, the whole county, and a lot of part of central Illinois into the abnormally dry. If March pans out to be above normal precip, we'll probably end up, removing a lot of that abnormally dry drought for central Illinois and start off the growing season actually in good shape.
March gains roughly an hour and a half of sunlight from beginning to end. With that increase in sun energy comes increased chances for severe weather. Shimon reminds, as listeners heard over the weekend, this is Severe Weather Preparedness Week. As spring approaches, trees will soon be budding, and if you haven't before or are new to tree care, a University of Illinois Extension program might just be for you. Tree care is important to extending and maintaining a tree's life, and Terry Miller-Casey, Extension Director for the U of I Extension in Logan, Menard, and Sangamon counties, indicates they are hosting a free online seminar about taking care of trees as they wake up for the season.
Thinking spring again. We're going to go back to spring. And this time we're going to finish up our 4-season gardening winter series with Root Awakening Spring Tree Tips. We like the puns and extensions. So this one's going to be a free online webinar series, and it's starting March 4th. And it's from 1:30 to 2:30. And this session is just going to be about, as your spring trees start to wake up, things you need to know about that process. So you're going to learn how to check for any winter damage. We know we've had a harsh winter, so you're going to want to check your trees for damage, ways that you can boost the tree's health. We know spring is it's a great time, but it's a stressful time because they're putting all their energy, the tree is, into putting out that green and getting ready. So we want to really boost that tree's health at that critical time. We want to promote strong roots. We want lush leaves throughout the growing season, right? So we want to have We don't want those puny little leaves. We want big, fat, beautiful leaves that provide us that great shade throughout the growing season. And then there's going to be other tips, just general tips about how to make trees thrive really throughout the season.
It's often thought that trees don't need much care during the season, if any. However, Miller Casey indicates there are steps you can take to prevent disease and pests from shortening a tree's lifespan.
They are often neglected because they seem to be maintenance free, except for the leaves and the litter that we sometimes have to pick up. So sometimes they go into the background and we don't necessarily notice them. Sometimes it's a natural progression. Eventually, all trees die. But sometimes there are ways to extend their life. If there is damage, we want to take care of that so it doesn't open it up for bugs and pests and funguses and bad things to get in there and do damage. Sometimes it's a matter of recognizing when they're under stress from different diseases or pests. There's often ways that tree can be treated and it can be saved if those symptoms are recognized early. And I would tell somebody that if you are worried or you're seeing something happen with your tree or shrubs, please call the extension office. We're going to help you be a resource to identify maybe what's going on. You can talk to our educator, Jennifer Fishburne, who's a horticulture educator. We have lots of master gardeners who are also trained. And so we stand as a resource. We know everybody is not an expert in tree care, but even if you just go out and observe your trees this spring and the summer and make note of anything of concern, then we would be more than happy to help you diagnose what's going on.
Miller Casey touts the experts they have in the extension that can help you take care of your plants this season. The Root Awakening Tree Care Seminar takes place on Tuesday, March 4th at 1:30. Register and attend the session online at extension.illinois.edu/LMS. You don't have to be retired or even close to retirement to benefit from creating your own mySocialSecurity account at ssa.gov. Jack Myers with Social Security is highlighting the account and its many advantages once you're receiving benefits from Social Security. However, there's even advantages to creating yours long before that.
Yeah, absolutely, Seth. We touched a little bit on this in the last segment when we were talking about the taxation issue and getting your 1099. That's a great example of what you can do on our website at ssa.gov with a personal mySocialSecurity account. I don't think there's much debate from folks as to whether or not it's a good idea to have one of those accounts when you're collecting Social Security benefits, because there are some obvious advantages like the ability to get a replacement 1099 or change an address or phone number or direct deposit if you're getting Social Security. But I think what people don't necessarily realize is that there are a lot of advantages to having a personal mySocialSecurity account long before it ever comes time to start collecting a benefit from Social Security.
You can also use your account to get personalized estimates of retirement, spouse, or disability benefits. According to Myers, you can review your Social Security statement and verify that your earnings are being reported properly to Social Security. Then you can get instant proof that you do not receive benefits from Social Security if you need that for any reason.
If you're 18 years of age or older, I encourage you to create that mySocialSecurity account for yourself at ssa.gov. It's kind of like your own little personal portal into your Social Security info. So when you go to our website at ssa.gov, you're seeing all the general info. But when you create that mySocialSecurity account, then you've got a little window into your info. So you can get great information like, what is your estimate of your future retirement benefit? What is an estimate of what you would qualify for if you become disabled? What would your family qualify for if you passed away? So those are all key things to have. In addition to that, you can also take a look at your earnings record. One day when you go to collect Social Security, your benefit is going to be based off of your lifetime work history. So it's important to make sure that those earnings are posted to your record correctly on a regular basis. And if you spot a problem, it's pretty easy to fix it if you still have the tax document.
If you need a replacement card or have an Illinois identification or ID, one of those in most states, you can request your replacement card through your mySocialSecurity account with ever visiting an office. Myers explains this is especially helpful if you need to request a replacement card and only have the temporary paper license or ID while you wait for your plastic one to arrive in the mail.
Other good advantages, you might not realize this, but the number one reason that people visit a Social Security office is for Social Security card related business. So if you've misplaced your card and you need a new one, if you've got a driver's license or state ID from Illinois and most other states, you can log right into your mySocialSecurity account, put information from your driver's license in, and get a replacement card. It's really slick, really easy. You don't have to visit an office. You can't make any changes, but if you just need a replacement card, you can do that there right through your mySocialSecurity account. So just one of many reasons why it's a good idea to set that account up, and why we say it's kind of there for you at every stage, because it's not just something you need once you start collecting benefits from Social Security.
Once you are receiving benefits, your account can be helpful for changing your address. Not available online for people who receive SSI benefits. In Myers adds you can also change your direct deposit information or get instant verification of your monthly benefit amount. 22 minutes after 7 o'clock is news time on this Monday. We've got plenty more to get to coming up on the morning show.
Baum Chevrolet Buick offers full transportation options while giving you peace of mind. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. This is what we do every day. We listen to you, give you options for routine maintenance, major mechanical problems, or collision repairs with a staff that's knowledgeable to find the best option for you. Baum Chevrolet Buick, your full-service dealer. See us at BaumChevyBuick.com right from the start.
News time is 22 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Monday. Again, I'm Seth Lawrence with you folks today for this expanded local newscast. Moderate drought and abnormally dry conditions are showing up on the drought map in the northern two-thirds of Illinois. Is that a big concern right now? State climatologist Trent Ford has more.
Right now, it is not super concerning. And a few reasons for that. One is that a lot of winter is not a particularly wet period of time. It can be. I mean, you can ask Carbondale about that right now. It's wet for them, but it's not normally a wet period of time, especially in central and northern Illinois. So it's not like we're missing out on rain or precipitation in a particularly wet period of time, right? Compare that to like May or June, where we go, if we were only an inch of rain in June, that's a huge hit on our moisture. Whereas, being a little bit drier than normal in January, February is not as big a deal. The other piece of this is that there is no correlation between how wet our falls are, our winters are, our springs are, and then the following summer. So the biggest determinant for yields in Illinois, whether it be corn or beans, is how much rain we get in July. And there's no relationship between how much rain we get in July and how dry we are in the fall previous, the winter previous, or the spring previous. So that means that in reality, now, of course, we don't want to come into the growing season being extremely dry with our soils, but we really aren't right now. I mentioned there's capacity in the soil, but there's not necessarily a huge deficit like what we're seeing out in the western or the central plains right now. The last thing I meant to mention is that we're talking here on February 25th. We have the entire month of March likely before most folks in earnest get going with their spring field work and planting, and March tends to be a bit of a wetter month. So, if you talk to me 2-3 months from now and we still have seen a pretty large precipitation deficits through the spring, I'll be a little bit more concerned about the risk of drought. But given how much spring we have left to go, which is the entirety of spring, and the outlooks that continue to paint a wetter than normal picture for the state of Illinois, I'm not overly concerned about significant agricultural impacts related to drought.
You can find the Drought Monitor at droughtmonitor.unl.edu. A local county farm bureau is having success with an Adopt a County board member program. It's an idea in Woodford County.
So the idea is really based off of the Adopt a Legislator program that the Illinois Farm Bureau is already doing. doing. We formed a really great relationship with Barbara Hernandez from Aurora at the state legislature, and our manager actually sits on the county board, our Farm Bureau manager, and we thought it would be a good idea to connect that program with our county and also utilize our allies in agriculture to help promote those relationships with the county board members. So each of us are assigned a county board member as our Adopt a County board member, and from there we go through meetings, and it's just been a really great program. So we have already had our Farm Bureau board members attending the county board meetings. So every single month we have representation at these board meetings. It's been like that for years, but we really wanted to build on that and focus on issues that were important to us. Something that is a little bit, I would say, unique about our county is that we are mainly agriculture, but there are pockets of urban areas, and so there are people on the board that are from those pockets of urban areas, and being able to connect with them and introduce them to our world and how they can help our community is a great thing.
Allie Gibbs is the Woodford County Farm Bureau Young Leaders. The annual Commodity Classic is this week in Denver. The RFD Radio Network's Rita Frazier has this report from Denver.
Rita Frazier reporting for the RFD Radio Network in Denver for Commodity Classic with Illinois farmer Rob Schaefer, who is on the American Soybean Association board, but also this year, Rob, you're co-chair of Classic. What does that mean?
Yeah, so Classic is half owned by NCGA, the National Corn Growers Association, and ASA, and I'm a director on ASA, and 3 years ago I was appointed to be on the Classic committee, which this will be my Classic, and then I will be immediate past chair for San Antonio in 26.
We're all curious, since this was the first time in Denver, how is registration and how is trade?
Very, very well. We're up to, as of an hour ago, we were at 10,747 like the airplane. We went from 9,500 on last Monday to this. This will be our second highest as of right now, and we could break the 11,000 mark, which we got real close to, 11,100 or something like that for last year. So for the ag economy being the way it is, a new site of Denver, and also 65-degree weather has brought out a lot of people.
Yeah, and today the Secretary of Agriculture is going to join you.
Yep, we sure do. Here in about, she should be landing here about any minute, and Brooke Rollins will be walking the trade show. Secretary Rollins will be walking the trade show, and there's some meet and greets and that kind of stuff that'll happen while she's here until about 6 o'clock.
I have to ask you, if you have an opportunity to look around and talk to folks, what will be the hot item on the agenda this year?
This year we got the resolutions part done. The biggest thing is trying to get the money out of USDA as far as what was passed before. You've always got, regulation, endangered species, EPA, you name it. There's always a job security for the people in D.C. to do their jobs so us farmers can be out and plant. I don't expect somebody in D.C. to come out and run my tractor. I don't expect me to go out there and tell them how to do their job. But it's wonderful to have the input of people that do it every day out there. And
Rob Schaefer, El Paso, Illinois farmer here, the co-chair of Commodity Classic. From Denver and the 2025 Classic, I'm Rita Frazier for the RFD Radio Network.
News time is 29 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Monday. Coverage of news is brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters. And we stream to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Of course, we stream live online all the time at DeWittDailyNews.com.